Hello everyone, my name is Matthew Leong, and the topic of my PowerPoint presentation is on the positives and negatives of nuclear energy and how it compares to other forms of renewable energy. When you think of nuclear energy, what do you think of? Perhaps a nuclear power plant, or you think of something that is volatile and can result in disastrous consequences. Everyone has their own opinion on nuclear energy, and we know of nuclear disasters such as Chernobyl, Fukushima, and the 3 Mile Islands incident. But what if I told you that nuclear energy and nuclear power plants are actually more prevalent in the world and much safer than the media makes it out to be? In fact, there are currently 500 nuclear power plants in the US alone, and over 440 nuclear power plants around the world. Nuclear energy has many benefits that make it a viable option for the future energy landscape and to help us meet future climate change goals. The question is, do the benefits outweigh the negatives? So what is nuclear energy? Nuclear energy is energy produced via nuclear reactions through either fusion or fission. Fusion is when atoms are combined together in a process to form a new atom. Fission is when an atom is bombarded by neutrons to separate into smaller atoms. Both of these processes release large amounts of heat and energy, similar to current-day power plants that usually use fossil fuels to power steam turbines and generators. A nuclear reactor typically uses radioactive elements, such as uranium, and is generally used in the form of pellets and rods, known as fuel rods or control rods. Uranium itself is found naturally, but is usually mined and refined into enriched uranium. When the uranium is spent, it is usually disposed of in a separate location, usually deep underground in a steel and concrete silo. So what are some positives of nuclear energy? Nuclear energy has a high energy output, it has a stable output that is less intermittent than other sources, and with proper safety protocols and standards in place, it is actually reliable and safe. It also has a much lower rate of fatalities per kilowatt and gigawatt generated. It has low operation costs and low levels of CO2 as well. It also offers jobs to local economies. The United States Navy even uses nuclear reactors to power its 11 aircraft carriers and its nuclear submarines, allowing them to potentially sail in an unlimited distance for up to 20 years. But there are also negatives to nuclear energy. Aside from nuclear's bad reputation in society and the media, there are also politics to contend with. Nuclear energy has a high initial investment cost, mining uranium is environmentally destructive, and disposing of nuclear waste is a contentious issue. There is also potential for accidents to happen, and uranium is sought after by terrorists and militants. The Chernobyl disaster happened because some technicians did not have the proper training, and the design of the reactor had fatal flaws that led to its meltdown. There is also only so much usable uranium in the world. So how does it compare to other forms of renewable energy? Nuclear energy is more stable and versatile since many renewables are dependent on weather conditions and location. You can't exactly have a hydropower dam in the middle of a field or a geothermal plant in a place with little geothermal energy or solar panels in a location with little sunlight. Nuclear energy has few to no greenhouse gas emissions over its entire life cycle, with greenhouse gas levels comparable to wind turbines and a quarter of the levels of solar PV panels. Nuclear energy also has a large capacity factor, meaning it can operate more days of the year, and it can even be operated or incorporated into existing power plants that currently run on fossil fuels. Solar panels only produce optimal power when the sun is out, meaning their power is dependent on the weather. Solar has a capacity factor of about 25%, or 91 days per year. Hydropower dams don't work so well during droughts or low levels of water and have a capacity factor of 138 to 150 days a year, or 38 to 41%. Wind turbines don't work when there is no wind and have a capacity factor of around 129 days a year, or 35.4%. Nuclear power has a capacity factor of up to 336 days per year, with 29 days taken for maintenance and upkeep of the plants. So in conclusion, nuclear energy is most certainly an option for future renewable energy plans. Lots of time, resources, and money have been invested into studying and developing nuclear energy, and it can only develop further from this point on. Perhaps in the future, our opinions of nuclear energy will change to be more positive and it will be more prevalent in society and in our energy grid. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I look forward to hearing what you guys have to say.